What's going on YouTube? This is 6Scale Economist. In today's video, we're going to be doing my top 5 figures announced for Star Wars Hot Toys in 2016. This doesn't mean that these figures were released in 2016, but rather they were just announced in 2016. This is going to be a series that I'm going to do where I'm going to go through all the different years of Hot Toys and give my opinion on my top 5 favorite figures. Let me know in the comment section down below if you guys enjoy this content. Let's jump right into it.
Click on Zombie Apocalypse.
All right, number 5, we have Chirrut Îmwe. So bear with me for these figures for 2016. There was a lot of heat that came out for Star Wars Hot Toys in 2016 because we saw a bulk of the Rogue One figures come out then. So there might be some in this list that you think should be in the top 5 that, aren't in my top 5, but these are just my opinions. But, this figure was just great. The portrait looks fantastic. It looks so similar to the actor Donnie Yen. Obviously, the deluxe version coming with the display base that has the Stormtrooper helmet, which looks great. And I think this figure in general just looks really good paired with some Stormtroopers behind them. Or Imperial disguise of Jyn or regular version of Jyn. Everything it comes with, it's just all around a great figure and a very unique character that's not exactly a main character, but definitely one that was very welcome to the Star Wars collection. And this figure in the secondary market surprisingly actually hasn't been insane. You can still find this figure, the deluxe version brand new. You can pick it up for probably $350 in most Facebook groups, probably a bit higher on eBay, but overall he's been actually trending a little bit down, and I think it's actually a pretty good opportunity to scoop this figure. If you missed out on it, it's one of the Rogue One figures that actually hasn't just absolutely exploded, which is great. Alright, at number 4, I have the Death Trooper Specialist from Rogue One. So, obviously this figure is absolutely fantastic. I think it's, great looking trooper. Just love the all black. I think that it really just looks really clean, especially paired with any white stormtroopers on your shelf or any other white characters like Director Krennic with his white cloth. So this figure is great. Retail for $235. Obviously, this was one that was one of the best performing figures in the secondary market for Star Wars Hot Toys to date until we saw the reissue in The Mandalorian. Still holds its pretty penny, but overall, this figure is fantastic. The hit of green on the helmet just looks great. I just really like this figure, and there's a lot of things obviously you can pair with this figure. You can put the Death Trooper with Stormtroopers to have the white and black contrast on your shelf. You can also pair him with Director Krennic, which is the obvious no-brainer. And in the future, coming down the line, if we do get Moff Gideon, he would obviously look great with them. So overall, this is a great release. And at the time, before we heard any re-releases or anything, this was definitely a figure to have from that collection. Obviously, we know the prices that it was at one point. This is inaccurate. This was just somebody paying way too much. But this figure was a $700 figure before the reissue. And since has come down since obviously we saw the reissue from The Mandalorian. But overall, this is a fantastic figure that not only has done well in the secondary market, or did well in the secondary market, but just a great figure from a collection perspective. And if you haven't picked up the pre-order the Mandalorian version yet, I'm not sure what you're waiting for, but it's just a great opportunity to pick up that figure. All right, jumping into the number 3 slot, I have the Rogue One Darth Vader. So to many people, this is the definitive Darth Vader to have in their collection. This is an absolutely fantastic Darth Vader. My personal opinion, I still prefer the Empire Strikes Back Darth Vader as the one Darth Vader to have in the collection. But this one definitely has multiple aspects of it that are superior to the Empire Strikes Back one. First off, the helmet. The helmet on this figure is fantastic. Because it doesn't have the removable gimmick, you don't have that slit in between the helmet and the dome that goes on top, which is great. I also think the eyes on this one looks a lot better. I know the Darth Vader Empire Strikes Back one is supposed to be movie accurate, but something about it just looks a little bit off sometimes with how the eyeglasses look, or the eye goggle part look. But that's where this figure really shines. The head on this figure is just fantastic. But where the Empire Strikes Back one really beats this one for me is obviously the display base that one comes with. And then just overall, most other aspects of that figure I just prefer. But this one is definitely an excellent Vader, and there's a strong argument to be made that this is the definitive Vader. I think you can't go wrong with either. Both are superior to the A New Hope version. But overall, this was a great release that has done very well in the secondary market, and sells for anywhere from like probably $450 to $600 with Facebook on the lower end and eBay on the upper end. But probably sits somewhere, real value is probably somewhere around $475 for this figure. So it's obviously Darth Vader that's done very well, especially considering the fact that retail for $250. And you also didn't have this one get reissued, unlike the Empire Strikes Back one that got reissued, because the Empire Strikes Back one also pushed about $500 until it got reissued. So this one is great because you're kind of protected from that risk. So if you were able to scoop this one at retail, is a great purchase. But overall, very, very, very strong figure. And very solid for 2016. 2016 was just a great year, so it's so hard to put the top 5 figures, but solid at number 3, Darth Vader from Rogue One. All right, this one might come as a shocker to some people. I might get flamed in the comment section for this one, but at number 2, not number 1, I have Shore Trooper. So this figure retailed for $205. Obviously, unless you live under a rock, you know how much this figure goes for in the secondary market. It is, on a percentage basis, the best performing Star Wars hot toy we have had to date. But this figure is just fantastic. Like, it's so unique. There's no other troopers really like it. The blue on the armor just kind of really pops off the shelf. The fabric underneath just looks great, that brown contrast, and it's very posable. You can get it in some sick poses, like holding the gun upright, or holding it in 2 hands, like doing like this pose. Like, this figure is just an absolutely outstanding figure. And although it was in the movie for like, was it like 2 seconds? I'm not even sure if it made the final cut of Rogue One. I can't even remember now, but people still went nuts for this figure. And this figure has done so well in the secondary market, I think, from a combination of basically a bunch of people sleeping on it because they like, it's not like a very prominent trooper and like any of them in the movie. So like, it's not something that people thought they needed in their collection. And, it just being like another trooper. So like a lot of people sleeping on this in combination with it being a very desirable trooper just made it just absolutely skyrocket in the secondary market. Hopefully we see it show up for like 2 seconds in The Mandalorian and then we just get a reissue. But this figure is obviously great. It was a very tough call for me for whether to put this at number 1 or not. But I had another figure that just edged it out. But and everything that he comes with, like... It's just a fantastic figure, and like in the secondary market, this should come as a shocker to nobody. If you're involved in the Star Wars Hot Toys community, this figure goes for $800 on eBay. You can probably scoop it at closer to like $650, $700 in Facebook groups. You see sometimes they show up for like $650, but it usually gets bought pretty quick in Facebook groups. But overall, this figure is just insane how well it's done. Which is fantastic for anybody who's able to pick this one up at retail or on any of the Sideshow restocks. But overall, an amazing figure from an amazing year for Star Wars Hot Toys, and definitely solid at number 2. Okay, and before we get to number 1, I do have some honorable mentions. Again, 2016 is tough because it was an unreal year for Star Wars Hot Toys in terms of the figures that we got. So this might come as a huge shocker to some of you that K2SO did not make it into my top 5, especially considering what it goes for in the secondary market. But overall, this figure is great, and it's it's massive and it's awesome. But for me, it doesn't make it into my top 5 because it doesn't come with a whole lot, and it's not like the details are like insane or anything. Plus the fact that the obviously the eyes don't light up all the time makes this figure a little bit less illustrious to me. But overall, obviously, it's a fantastic figure. In any other year, it would have been in my top 5, but it was just too hard with all the great figures we got in 2016. And I think if he just came with a bit more, he probably would have made it. Another one is the Stormtrooper. So this is actually my favorite version of the Stormtrooper. I actually have one here, still in box, but this is the Rogue One Stormtrooper specifically. And the reason why I like this one so much is because the eyes, this is like in my opinion, the best body shape, and also the eyes aren't fully green, and it's not like as prominent, so that's another reason why I really like this one. Also, this one has done very well in the secondary market as well, probably going anywhere from $350 to $450. Another honorable mention is the Empire Strikes Back Yoda. I think this figure doesn't get as much love as it deserves. This figure is an insanely great portrait. of Yoda. It looks so accurate. You get, you know, 2 head sculpts, one with the eyes closed and eyes open. The problem with this one is just there's not that many figures that are out right now that go really well with him. You basically need like a Luke in Dagobah fatigues or like an R2-D2 from Empire Strikes Back to really go well with this figure. So I do think this figure will be more appreciated down the line, but it's still one that, you know, was sneaky. It did come out in 2016, or was announced in 2016, so definitely a great figure. And the last one is the Snowtrooper 2-pack from Battlefront 2. Again, another set I think has a similar issue to Empire Strikes Back Yoda has, in that there's not that many things that go that great with them still. We need something like a General Veers or something else from Hoth that would go really well with that. These 2 troopers could be flanking, and I think once that happens, these would be more appreciated. Although these still have done very well in secondary market, and, you know, retail for what, like $440? They retail for $370. This is a $700 set now in the secondary market. So they have done very well, but I think it would be even more appreciated if they have some figures that can go better with them. And probably the major reason why that one didn't make it into my top 5. Also, we just got so much heat in 2016, it's hard. Alright, and the number 1 figure for me announced in 2016 for Star Wars Hot Toys was the Deluxe Jyn Erso from Rogue One. This figure just had it all. If you were a fan of Rogue One and you wanted a representation of Jyn Erso in your collection, this just gave you everything. You know, what it really boiled down to was the multiple looks that you have for this figure and the portrait of Felicity Jones that this figure has. It just looks fantastic. It looks so much like Felicity Jones. And you also have like the different outfits you can have. Like you can have her how she appeared on Edu, you know, with like her storm coat. And you can also have her how she appeared on Jeddah. And they're 2 like very different looks. Like, and you can, you know, it is kind of tough to swap them back and forth, but they just both look fantastic in whichever one you want to. And you can also put the helmet on her. And, you know, you can have the scarf, and you can kind of put the scarf up more, so it's kind of like covering her face. You know, you get the goggles, you get the face mask, you get the binoculars, you get like the the grenade things, you get the guns. She just came with everything that I would have wanted for a Jyn Erso, and the likeness is just fantastic. And usually Hot Toys is kind of off the mark on some of the more attractive looking actors and actresses for their toys, like Leia's or Luke's, but with this one I feel like they just nailed it, and it just really does look like Felicity Jones. And overall was just a fantastic figure. And then in the secondary market, this figure has actually had a very interesting kind of roller coaster ride within local peaks and highs in the secondary market. So, you know, obviously this figure retailed for, I think it was $250. Yeah, $250. This figure got, like, for a while was in like the 350 high 300s range, and then started to creep, peaking as high as $550 to $600. You know, probably like a month and a half ago, and has actually since come down. So as you can see, this is probably when it started peaking. This was about 2 months ago, at $560, and it was probably going in the Facebook groups at $500. It was getting lifted immediately, and has since come down. Actually, you can find this one in the Facebook group for like $400, $425 now, and still trending downward. So if you haven't picked up this Jyn Erso, this is a great time to pick it up. I think that this is we're probably at the local lows of this figure again. I can't imagine this figure ever going, you know, below $375 again. So if you don't have a Jyn Erso and you want to pick one up, you know, right now is a great time to pick one up. All right, as always, these are just my thoughts. Let me know in the comment section down below, what are your guys' favorite figures that were announced in 2016, Star Wars? You know, do you guys agree with my list? Do you think I have some stuff messed up? Do you guys definitely think K2SO should be in the top 5? Do you think Short Trooper is number 1? Let me know in the comment section down below. This is 6 Scale Economist, and we'll see you in the next video.